Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
Mackinac, he's got three!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. We want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, a.k.a. YBK, Kevin Frazier. We have a ton of stuff for you today, and that is pretty much what we got today is stuff. We just got a bunch of stuff. We got all-star stuff. We got home run derby stuff. We got players
a little
stuff,
Ranger stuff,
a little bit of Rangers stuff, and then we got a preview of a big upcoming series with Baltimore. It's less about who we're playing. It's more about the condition of the Rangers and where we're sitting in our division. Trade deadline coming up. I feel like we just need, what we really need is another month. Like we need one more month before the trade deadline. And I feel like we'd know a heck of a lot more about this team to make more educated decisions. But you know what? We're gonna be risk. There's gonna be some risk factor going into the trade deadline, going into the second half, and there's just a lot going on with this team, and we are pumped about it. If you want to talk to me on social media about any of these things, you can go to Kevin Lee Frazier. That is Frazier. You can also check out Texas Rangers with the Boys on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
one word.
And you can also check us out right here on the Sports Fluent Network on YouTube. Just go up into that search bar and type Texas Rangers with the Boys. We got our own playlist, and you can see our made-for-radio faces every single day and get all your Texas Rangers news on YouTube. Big shout-out to our Down on the Farm subscribers, our farm hands. We appreciate each and every one of you guys who go the extra mile to get your Rangers news. Joining me today, as always, my co-host, the 300-pound manimal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? Where can they find you on those socials?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. Got the yard mowed. Got a lot of downtime with no baseball. So I got the yard mowed, starting to look immaculate. Not really. It's just a yard. There's nothing special about it. Yeah, I mean, but I was happy to have it done before I hit the road later this morning after we get done taping here, filming. What do they call it? Like recording? What are we doing here?
Streaming.
Streaming. I never got that one. Yeah, I never got that one. Yeah.
Streaming.
Last couple of days have been a little, no
lazy
baseball.
Lazy baseball day today.
Yeah, man, we got a little bit of it with the home run derby last night. Man, that we'll have a whole little talk about it, but that Star Spangled Banner, I'm pretty sure Vietnam veterans were just jumping off the mezzanine listening to that thing out there at the ballpark last night.
Surprised it wasn't like
game.
An assassination attempt.
Well, good on all the ball players to not lose it when they were out there trying to,
not laugh. You can tell they were trying not to laugh.
Yeah, there were a couple of
assassination.
But we'll character assassinate here in a little bit. But I wanted to, that was some of the funnest baseball we've had in a long time when that national anthem went down. It really gave a nice feel to the whole start of how things it gave us a good talking point right off the bat,
There it is.
It really did. But yeah, everything is good. Going to get on the road here to Pennsylvania. But before we do, we got to get one more show in this week because we want to preview Baltimore coming up. It's going to be a big series. The Rangers have got a 7-game homestand right after this trip. And 4 of those games are against the Chicago White Sox. So, they need to have a 5-2, 6-1 road trip or homestand here coming out of the break. And we'll probably, we'll preview it a little bit. But you got Eovaldi and Scherzer both going to be on full rest, and all that stuff coming up into this series, and we'll see how things shake down. But I'll give you my idea on how it does on Sunday. But yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. There's a little bit of Ranger news we'll get to. But before we do all of that, I have to remind you that next Friday, July 26th at the Southside Preservation Hall, Matt Warpro will be back with a brand new show, something. Show. There we go. Brand new show. Big show. That's what I'm looking for. A big show. Friday, July 26th. Lots of wrestling action. Hopefully it's good wrestling action to keep people coming back. But I know for sure there's going to be good food out back with Kelly's Onion Burgers. There's going to be good desserts inside with Starry's Ice Cream. And there's going to be good beer from Martin House Brewing. So come on out Friday, July 26th. Get your weekend started right with Matt War Pro Wrestling at the Southside Preservation Hall. And bell time about 8 p.m.
Forgive me if I'm laughing over here, but down the hallway over here, like I know the sound of my kid opening a door and my wife opening a door. I don't know how I know, but I know the sound, and I can hear him opening the door, and I look over there, and it's just funny seeing this little 2-year-old head doing all kinds of like grown-up things, just being absolutely ridiculous and causing all kinds of mayhem. Just right there. Just right there.
Yeah, well, manimals are going to manimal.
Manimals will manimal, and he definitely has no qualms about it. So, man, let's talk baseball. I mean, it's lazy baseball day right now. It's lazy baseball week, but there is still stuff going on and stuff worth mentioning. How about we start with
Antoine Kelly?
Let's do some Rangers news. Why not?
Let's start with Antoine Kelly.
Yeah, it's kind of probably the biggest real Ranger news going right now.
It's All-Star break, so if anybody is, everybody's kind of on the mend on these couple of weeks here, or this week here, where they only play a couple of games on Friday and Saturday. So we'll kind of see. Sunday or Monday on the show, we may have some updates for some things that happened Thursday or Friday before the game. But it's All-Star break week. We're gonna do some whatever as far as preview wise. But at the end of the day, I mean, with Antoine Kelly, kind of a shock when he was dropped off of the 40-man last week in favor of Daniel Robert. But at the same time, Antoine Kelly, over the course of the last year, has only really performed for about a month and a half. Yeah. So, they took a chance. They liked everything about him, put him on the 40-man. And here we are looking at Justin Slayton being a 40-man rule or a Rule 5 guy in Boston, being very successful in leverage situations in their bullpen. And Antoine Kelly is wasting a roster spot in AAA with a 10 ERA. So the Rangers had to make a decision. Daniel Robert had been pitching better than probably any other reliever at Round Rock. He'd been on quite the roll. Give him that opportunity. So now this year, both Yuri Rodriguez and Antoine Kelly, out of that bullpen of guys that they felt they needed to keep in December, are both gone off of the 40-man roster. And now we're talking since last year in September, the Rangers have lost Justin Slayton, the big kid, Alex Spees, Antoine Kelly, and Yuri Rodriguez off of the 40-man roster, or basically
Mason Englert.
Well, that was before the season last year. But I'm saying just since last year at this time, and the people that they replaced him with were Matt Bush. Antoine Kelly was the guy that they kept instead of Justin Slayton. Now Antoine Kelly is gone. Yuri Rodriguez never performed one time for the Rangers. and Justin Slayton and Mason Englert, and those guys have all been somewhat successful with their ball clubs. And now Englert's had some struggles this year and made it through last year, but started this year at AAA and hasn't really kind of found his footing just this year. But they got 4 years to work with him now.
Yeah,
they got
nice reliever.
I mean, and this year and on, they got 2 more options with him, so there's time to get him fixed. So it's just a little bit different, and I feel like sometimes the bullpen 40-man management in this front office kind of misses on some stuff, and I know it's hard, and I know that they got moves that they feel like they have to make, and there's a bunch of guys that they want to give opportunities to. But yeah, Antoine Kelly, I guess the point of that was designated for assignment last week, picked up this week by the Rockies. The Rockies are probably one of the worst teams in the league right now. I'd say probably top 5 on that list. So, he didn't even get through 5 teams before he was snatched right up. And we'll see what happens with him and the Colorado Rockies going forward.
Yeah. It seems like the team really is more in favor. I can't even say in favor of veterans because it hasn't always been for veterans. So I'm not going to give my 2 cents on it. Rangers, it's hard. It's a hard game, especially with the bullpen guys, because there's no consistency.
Then you have a bunch of first rounders that you want to try and keep, and you've got guys that have been top prospects at certain points that you want to keep on those 40-man rosters. And it's a tough decision. I'm not saying that the wrong decision was the one that I wouldn't have made too. So don't, I don't want to make it sound like, CY is an idiot, because that's not the case at all. It's just you have to make a decision, and it's a tough decision, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way that you want, and it turns into kind of a situation. It's like the same thing with nobody wants to call Josh Young injury prone because he's had some bad luck with injuries.
Right.
But you got to ask the question.
I was talking about it last year before this happened. I was talking about it during spring training when he had the calf thing.
Yeah, that's when we were talking about it then, and then 4 days later.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pin that label on him because it's been some bad luck. It's been, it hasn't always been just one time it was overtraining, one time it was a foot injury with it, So yeah, I'm just saying that you just don't want to put that stigma on the Rangers because they've made some good moves on that 40-man that have helped them as well.
Absolutely. Well, hey, let's talk real quick about speaking of 40-man guys. I mean, might as well get into the Tyler Mahle start. He went, 2 2/3, got 5
2 2/3, one hit, 5 Ks. Still working through some things. Probably, definitely his longest outing of the season, but at the same time, 5 Ks could be a little misguided with a bunch of 18-year-olds that he's pitching to. But at the same time, progress is progress. You want to see him start getting towards 50 to 75 pitches so you can start seeing him at this next level and seeing him back with the club and getting productive outs for the big league team. And I think we're getting close. I think next time he'll probably be somewhere around 50 pitches.
Yeah, I think it's really cool just to see him on the comeback trail, and I think the Rangers definitely need that.
And I think also he'll probably throw Sunday somewhere. I think they want to keep him on rotation. He pitched Tuesday at Frisco. He pitched Wednesday at Round Rock 3 weeks ago. Last week he pitched Tuesday at Frisco. This week he pitched Monday in the Arizona complex. So I would say he'll probably pitch on Sunday somewhere, either Round Rock or Frisco.
Got it.
Also, Dunning, I think we talked about it the other day, but Dunning did make a rehab start on Sunday. We talked about that already, I think, though.
Yeah, so, a little bit of Rangers pitching news, injuries, team moves. We'll talk a little bit about the draft here in just a little bit, but I want to get into some all-star game festivities. As we mentioned on Monday, we got out to see the Futures game, got to see some, see those guys play, and that was fun. And last night, or night before last, we had the home run derby. I watched. I mean, all in all, I felt like the home run derby was actually pretty fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. It wasn't. I think because I'm a different age, where these aren't my formidable years, like when I was a teenager, so I don't have the same affinity towards players. So stuff is not as exciting like this as when I was a kid.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
It's more, I'm old now. So like I'm more, it's the games that count and blah, 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 But man, like we were saying, like, what if Ken Griffey Jr. and Mark McGwire would have had an all-star, had a
40 swings?
Yeah, like that, how fun that'd have been for us. And I think that's just for our age. But I think, man, that was fun. I enjoyed it. I love the format. They worked them guys, man.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the first 4 guys out of the chute had pretty good, or 5 guys out of the chute had a good round, and then the top guys that were supposed to be the big home run hitters kind of, I don't know, the bed, like no one moved on out of the top 3. Jose Ramirez and Bobby Witt Jr. and Teoscar Hernandez and Alec Baum, with Dolly was just a home run away from a swing off with Hernandez. And I don't know, didn't it kind of seem like Adolis Garcia didn't know the rules in the out? Like he swung at everything, like he didn't realize that he could take those pitches, like he didn't understand.
Oh, I think during the second section, I think so. But what I also thought with Adolis is that if you noticed him, he was kind of a rhythm person. It didn't really matter as much the location, but once he started getting into a rhythm, he just wanted to keep that rhythm going. And I think once that stopped, and he got into the, the 3-out thing where he had that big break in between, I just think it kind of like threw his rhythm off. And I think he's probably just trying to get that back. I don't know. I was joking that his chase rate was the same in the home run derby as it is in the season, where he's just up there hacking.
Well, I just figured that they put runners on all the bases during those outs for him.
Exactly. They loaded the bases.
They loaded the bases for him, and that's what we got in that. But he had a good stretch there in that second stretch right there. And, I don't know. I mean, not making excuses for him. I mean, he did what he did, whatever it is, what it is. I don't care. It's the home run derby. But, right. I mean, overall, I thought he had a pretty good round. And, like we were saying, like I would have loved to have seen a format where guys like Mo Vaughn and Albert Bell and Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco and those guys got 40 swings.
Yeah, that would have been super cool.
See what those fellas did.
Hey, so maybe what kind of contract is Teoscar Hernandez on? Because man,
he's on a 1 year.
Man, like, geez, that guy absolutely his bat. Yeah, he loved the ballpark.
Teoscar. Remember, Teoscar was the guy that signed the 1 year deal, and he's going to get paid on it for like 8 after. Yeah. He was part of the Dodgers signing parade this offseason, and now he's a 2-time All-Star in a row, coming off of 1 year contracts. I mean, this should be the year that Teoscar Hernandez gets paid.
Yeah, well, I'm half joking, just because he hit so good in the park. It was fun, I mean, I really liked the
Alec Baum kid hit pretty well in the park too.
Yeah, all those guys. It was fun. I love the format. It was cool.
Good finish too, with it coming down to
literally hitting the wall.
Nothing really exciting throughout the first kind of couple of rounds, but you had the Alec Baum, Teoscar Hernandez tie there in the second round, and then you had Bobby Witt trying to chase him down, hit that 450-foot blast to get himself one more out, and then just couldn't quite muster up enough to get that last ball over the fence. Kind of got Corey Seager there. You know how it feels like Corey Seager hits about 50 balls that should go out of the park, but then you're like, oh, man, they're going to catch that ball.
Yeah. And I'd love to see Seager.
And Seager did that in the All-Star game, too.
Yeah, I'd love to see him in a home run derby, man. He's got like the kind of swing I feel like
He would be the guy that feels like he would get through 40 pitches and still have like a minute 18 on the clock because he's just in the batter's box swinging.
And I feel like he's like the guy that has like that kind of the swing that like could produce a good home run derby. He'd be a guy that randomly hit a 480-foot bomb, and you're like,
and the rest of them would be like 375 just over the left center field fence because he's in a groove.
do we want to talk about the have we talked enough about the Star Spangled Banner?
No, there's not enough talking that you can do about the Star Spangled Banner. Last night, our good friend Johnny Butabi and I got into a list of things that national anthem was so bad that it turned American history into completely different scenarios. I believe that the Pilgrims at one point turned around and just decided to pay the taxes in England. He also he had one where Donald Trump just stepped back.
Yeah.
He went back in time and just stepped back a foot instead of stepping forward and just took that bullet. So, yeah, we had a good time with it. We were laughing about it. Apparently that girl does have a serious issue going on in her life, and hopefully she can get into some rehab and that'll get her back onto her because this was a girl that was a 4-time Grammy nominated singer-songwriter. So hopefully, she gets it back on track and she can come back to no, she can't ever come back to Major League Baseball again, but maybe somewhere else, like maybe like at a high school basketball game in like a non-district, just playing a team to, it's not like a rivalry game or anything like that, but like maybe her old hometown high school will invite her back to sing.
Or maybe like Borat, like go to a rodeo. Sing it at a rodeo.
I like it. Yeah. There's different ideas that can happen, but hopefully, first and foremost, she gets the help that she needs.
Yeah, and all joking aside,
absolutely.
We make jokes because it's honestly a way Bull and I have always dealt with kind of like tragic stuff.
In
our lives, like we kind of.
I mean, there's more. It came down to it that there was more than one tragic thing come out of this besides just the Star Spangled Banner. So, yeah, I hope she gets her help, the help she needs, and gets back into the spotlight that she was in. And but goddamn, that was awful.
Yeah, we do hope that she gets her stuff together and that she's able to really
Major League Baseball actually called Roseanne Barr and asked her what she was doing for the All-Star game.
In all actuality, I could care less about her career. I just hope that she gets herself back together and is able to overcome her situation.
100%.
But yes, it was definitely a memorable All-Star game. What's Fergie's excuse?
She's just not a very good singer.
Like, she doesn't have an excuse.
Maybe she had an alcohol problem that she just wasn't ready to admit yet.
It's possible.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe she just can't sing very well.
Yeah,
it's possible. Well, All-Star game stuff. Simeon played, Seager played, Yates played.
They all got in the game. Seager was about 10 feet from being the guy that got the MVP instead of Duran.
Yeah.
He kind of put the blueprint together there on those sliders that ended up leaving the yard. But yeah, some good wood there, and I don't know what inning that was. Maybe the 5th inning, something like that. Also, Simeon got the 3-run rally there underway when the National or the American League down 3-0. He got a single there. I guess I could pull the box score up and give you a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, pretty good game. Lots of good pitching. God, man, it felt like in those late innings, it was just dude after dude with tremendous stuff. I mean,
Mason Miller
throwing 100 and 102 mile an hour cutters, and Mason Miller throwing 104 miles an hour, 103.6 or whatever it was.
He's a freak, dude. There's no better way to describe that guy. He is a freak, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting seeing Umanaga. What was
Yeah,
Umanaga?
yeah,
That guy for
the
the
reliever,
first
right?
time. No, the Cubs pitcher, the guy
Is he a starter?
Shota
Oh
Imanaga.
yeah, man. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
He's
was good
good, man.
seeing
The
him.
lefty.
Um, um, Simeon got his hit off of Webb to start that inning. Also, Ketel Marte hit a shot at Simeon that like bounced up. I mean, even Simeon couldn't make the play on that ball. Was a rocket, like 110 off the bat. Hunter Green ends up giving up the couple of hits there in the fifth inning to take the loss. But man, after that, it was like Sanchez, Lopez, Suarez, Strom, Scott, Hoffman, all those dudes were just coming in blazing gas, dude. Nobody gives up a hit. Nobody gives up a walk. Nothing. There was nothing after that fifth inning. And pretty much the same side on the American League, too, because Lugo did give up a couple of hits, worked around a couple of things, and Raggins did give up a little weak infield hit. But as far as everybody else, Miller was dominant. Yates looked really, really good. And
Yeah, Yates, Clase.
Clase gave up that little hit too, but not really much there. National League puts up 3 runs on, is it Tanner Hawk from Boston? So Boston basically goes from being the GOAT from being Tanner Hawk being on the hook for the loss, and then what was his name? Duran, Jaron Duran. He ends up being the hero of the game with the 2-run home run, gets the MVP, and Mason Miller gets the win. Clase gets the save, and Hunter Green, like I said, takes the loss. And fun little game. I mean, the American League only had 5 hits, but they scored 5 runs. The National League had 10 hits, only were able to get 3 of them across. And the difference was that 2-run home run from Jaron Duran, and that explains why he was the MVP. But Rangers overall, like I said, Simeon had a hit. Yates had a perfect inning, couple of strikeouts. First guy he faced, he set him up perfect, couple of fastballs by him, and then threw the splitter at the bottom of the zone. And he was really good. His value is high right now if something does happen with the Rangers, but we're not going to talk about the Rangers. That's something like that happening with the Rangers right now because they're riding 6 games or 8-4 going into 8-4 going into the break, or 9-4 going into the break, and ready to come out playing some ball against Baltimore, and we'll talk about that here in a second.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the Rangers Major League Draft. Now, we are going to get way more in depth about the draft on our exclusive content, but we can talk just a little bit overview here. One more thing. National League had the better uniforms.
Man, but those blue pants, man.
Hands down.
I just can't get past them, dude. I just can't get past the off-colored pant. Like it's just awful. It just doesn't look right.
I thought they looked great in that regard. And when it's all,
I'll take them in an exhibition.
When it's all together, it doesn't look as bad as when it's like when you have different colors.
Just the person wearing that jersey around with their regular pants on doesn't look great. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the.
You aren't a fan. I like it. I like the uniforms.
But yeah, I would prefer if the guys just went back to wearing their uniform.
I like that better anyway.
Yeah, I think I saw something where Manfred was talking about they'll discuss that for next year.
Yeah, I like them wearing their uniforms because it feels more like.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, man. It's
everybody
more fun like that.
Wear your home whites on the National League, and wear your road grays for the American League, and wear your goofy gimmick jersey where you could still sell 100,000 of them for each player on the Monday night when they're doing the Derby.
Something.
Then you got everybody wearing them the night before, when you've got all the cameras on the home run derby, and then you can have the regular jerseys on Tuesday night.
Yeah. Well, MLB draft,
Huh?
lots of fun, man. Lots of good stuff for the Rangers. I think the big key here, or the big takeaway, just on the kind of like super high level, is that Rangers really were keyed in on the college players this time around. Maybe that has to do with
I felt like everyone was.
Well, yeah, I agree with that too.
I think like this was the most I've ever seen just everybody being a college player.
Well, and I think a lot of it, I'm going to be honest with you, I think a lot of it is that I think the Rule 5 has a little bit to do with it, because why go and
you have 4 years?
Right. You get this high school kid, and maybe if they have to take a long time to develop, then you're already risking a lot with the international players in that issue. So now you're going to do the same thing with your draft picks, who you're spending millions of dollars on. And why not, with the success that we've seen of these college kids over the last few years, why not start to get guys that are much more professionally developed, guys that have a lot more savvy to them, guys. And I'm not going to say I told you so, but I am going to bring up a conversation we had probably 2 years ago where I was talking about this because of just the logic. I feel like if I'm an MLB owner and I'm spending millions of dollars on these young guys, and I'm looking around at these other leagues, and these guys are coming up and playing even in the NBA the next year or the year after, and NFL, these guys are coming in and contributing. You're paying these guys millions of dollars to play semi-pro.
And now also remember, the NIL deals make a big difference for these kids too, because now you can go to college and make your money. Make enough money to, better money than you're probably going to make at A-ball in your first year of baseball. And then, like you said, with the Rule 5, 4 years to develop a 21-year-old or 5 years to develop an 18-year-old.
It's risky, especially with pitchers.
Especially when you're already putting 15 to 20 kids every January on your roster that are 16 years old that you've only got 5 years to develop too. So you've already got 20 or 15 of these 16-year-olds that you've got starting even lower. So it makes sense to let good college coaches develop these players and help you develop and get them ready for that next level. I mean, the only thing that I would change about college baseball is that they use the aluminum bat.
Yeah, and I think
I would like to see them use a wood bat in college, because all those kids need to develop that at some point. I really think that most kids that are young, that are swinging an aluminum bat in games, should have a wood bat that they take BP with, that they could practice hitting the sweet spot, because you get a lot of extra out of an aluminum bat that you're not getting out of a wood bat. And then if you're hitting the aluminum bat and you're going sweet spot every time, or you're hitting the sweet spot more often, you're going to do much better with that aluminum bat, especially at the high school level.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think it's kind of like the NBA, in college basketball, you play on a 10-foot goal too. In college football, you play on 100-yard field. I know in college it's a little, the hash marks are a little different, but all in the 3-point line is a little different. But we're talking semantics with stuff like that. We're talking about equipment, a huge difference in equipment.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I think wood bats should be just across the board.
I think I think that's also why these summer collegiate baseball leagues are so important too. Like the those Cape Cod leagues, the Alaskan League, the one that they do up there in Ohio, where it's all top level Division I talent, and they're all playing with wood bats, and they're you see a lot of balls that would have been home runs with aluminum bats that are medium range fly balls with the wood bats. And so you see the guys that have really developed power because they're hitting home runs with these wood bats.
Yeah. I just think it makes more sense, because it's going to help these kids develop quicker and be more prepared to play at big league level. And again, I'm speaking from like if I were to ever own a baseball team, like and ever had to make financial decisions, like, man, like I want guys that are going to come in and play. Like I'm not trying to wait 5 years for $1 million some on investment to make, to come back around. And then what happens when it doesn't? Oh my God, man.
Yeah.
Are you joking me? Like, are you kidding me? And so that's kind of where I look at it. Like, hey, look, man, like I want the college players. Maybe there's a certain ceiling element that you might miss out on here and there. But to me, if you want that, that's why you have the international signings.
Well, for the Rangers here, the breakdown is they took 16 collegiate players, they took 3 high school players, and they took 1 junior college player.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what you're getting out of them this year. Notables, I think, really right off the bat, that Dylan Dreeling was a guy that we talked about that the Rangers would draft on Sunday if he was there, and he was there, and they drafted him. So, that was a guy I didn't really. I think we even talked about me not expecting him to still be there at
the Tennessee kid, right?
The Tennessee kid. Malcolm Moore is the best hitting catcher in that draft. The other kid that Houston drafted might have been a little bit better player overall. He might have a little bit more command with his staff, but the Malcolm Moore was definitely the best hitter, the best hitting catcher in this draft. He's a pretty veteran guy. They imagine that he can stick at catcher, but he's also the type of guy that he can move off of catcher, hit and slug enough to stay in the lineup. Dreeling, another guy. I'm really shocked that he fell to the Rangers at 65. Casey Cook is another outfielder, kind of similar in the same mold as Dylan Dreeling, where he's a good contact, doesn't strike out a lot, veteran hitter of the college ranks. And Dreeling was also.
I was going to say, look, we have exclusive content.
I was just going to do the first 3 rounds, then I was just going to start going fast.
Yeah, well, I'm stopping you now, all right? Because we got exclusive content. It's called Down on the Farm with the Boys. And listen, we cover all things Rangers minor league. And the one thing we're going to do for you farm hands is we're going to go through this list and give you as much in-depth detail on all of these draft picks as we can. And I'm telling you right now, it's only $1.99 a month. All right, just $1.99 a month makes us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization-wide. Because like I said, I know my man right here, if I let him keep going, you guys are going to know everything you need to know about these top 3 picks. And our farm hands have been faithful, and these guys pay the big bucks for this. So we're gonna pause here because I'm telling you right now, there are some picks in this draft that the Rangers made that have a chance to impact this team really quickly. And when he's talking about Dreiling, go look at the numbers. If you want to, I'm telling you, this kid can hit. Rangers got a lot of good things going. And honestly, on the show last week,
Cook could hit too.
Well, and we were talking about this on the show last week, and some of these guys that we were talking about, Rangers weren't the only teams that thought highly of them, and you weren't the only one that thought highly of them, because a lot of these guys were getting drafted way earlier than we thought they would. So go to the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Or go to Spotify, click the subscribe. It's $1.99 a month. I'm telling you, it's worth every penny. It is crammed, jam-packed with content, and we're going to let you know all about all these draft picks. There we go. I stopped you because I knew where we were going, and I wasn't going to let it happen because these guys pay good money for. Anyways, moving right along, Rangers make some really good draft picks. Bottom line, right?
Yeah, no, there's a handful of kids that are really interesting on here. 2 off the top are just Rafi Perch and Keith Jones II. Those are two interesting picks. I saw Keith Jones play earlier in Dallas this year. New Mexico State did very little in that series, but Keith Jones was like 9 for 10.
So there it is. There's your last tidbit of free Down on the Farm with the Boys news that we're going to talk about this whole squad on Sunday. I'm excited about it because I'm telling you, I'm going to learn as much as you guys learn about it during the show. Hey, man, any other All-Star game takeaways? I don't have anything. I'm ready to talk. Let's talk about this Baltimore series and really just what it means for the Rangers. And I know we're going to preview the Chicago series. We're going to preview Toronto and St. Louis, but the trade deadline is on the 30th. So this Baltimore series, the White Sox series, and the weekend Toronto series back at home, I think by that St. Louis series, I think we're going to kind of have an idea, or maybe before that, we're going to have an idea of where this team is and what this team's going to be looking to do. This is huge, man. This is probably like baseball for our team.
This is as big a 10-game stretch as the Rangers have had all season. It's going to be, make or break right here. I mean, when they leave Toronto on Sunday the 28th, they're going to have in mind what they want to do. They're going to have to know whether they're going to be a seller or they're going to be a buyer, or if they're looking to stand pat and hopefully get DeGrom and Molly. And they should have Molly back at some point. I would hope, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be. If he pitches Sunday, that's the 21st. They bring him back on Saturday. It would still be like Friday the 2nd in Boston probably before you would see his first start. So, you still got some questions there. DeGrom's still ramping up in bullpens. He hasn't even been out on his first rehab assignment yet. So you've got a lot of questions there on what those guys are going to bring down the stretch. Are they going to be back in time? Is there going to be any setbacks? So you've got all those questions to ask there. Is Josh Young going to make it back in the next couple of days to start, boosting this offense a little bit? Or is this thing going to be a seller? But these next 10 games, the Baltimore series, the White Sox series, those 7 games at home are going to tell a lot. And if they're going into Toronto with a losing homestand right there, you might start seeing them sell. Now, that's not what I want happen, and I want them to come back out of this All-Star break. They're going to probably have Eovaldi on Friday and Scherzer on Saturday on normal rest, actually an extra day. So we'll just kind of see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen Sunday, but you're going to probably also see Corbin Burns at some point during that series. So you'll probably see Grayson Rodriguez. So you're going to see their guns too. And we'll just kind of see what happens there. And then they got to go into Chicago, they got to go into that Chicago series with guns ablazing and try to take as much of that as they can and see where they're at when they hit the road on the 26th.
Yeah. One thing that is kind of worth mentioning, and this is not, no one's going to roll over for anybody. This is professional baseball. But Baltimore, Chicago, and Toronto have a heck of a lot less on the line right now than the Rangers do. Now, I know Baltimore is in a series, is in a division race, and they're only up by 1 on the Yankees, and they need every win. I'm not making minimum of that. But if they go out if the Rangers sweep them, they are not in any dire. It doesn't change the future for them at all. At all. They have all the time in the world to make up whatever they lose ground in that game, in that series. Chicago, we know, has nothing to play for but draft picks.
Well, you have to definitely see that same sense of urgency that you saw Saturday and Sunday in Houston. Yes. That same sense of urgency that you saw in those first 2 games against Los Angeles to win that series. So you're going to have to see that, and you're going to have to see that same kind of, what they did in that Tampa Bay, Los Angeles, and Houston series. You're going to have to see that same kind of sense of urgency. They're going to have to beat good pitching. And with Baltimore, and they're going to have to beat up on a team in Chicago that they have to beat up on. Now, Friday is a 7:05. Saturday is a 6:05. I'm pretty sure that's the National. That's the
Yeah.
no, they don't have it as the national. I guess I was thinking that was the national game of the week or whatever,
Coach
but it's
Valley.
not. And then the 21st on Sunday is a 1:35 ball game, and we'll know a lot more when we're back at this thing on Saturday, or I mean on Sunday. And there's the little manimal. We've got both manimals on screen right now. They're both smiling because we're buddies. Me and this guy right there, we're buddies, and we hang out as often as we can and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we got a big series coming up this weekend for the Rangers, and we'll know so much more Sunday when we get back together and we tape for after this ball game then. But who knows what the Orioles, but you're probably going to see their top three starters coming back out of this, and probably Burns on Saturday versus Scherzer, and we'll see what Sunday brings. Rangers will probably go Lorenzen if I had to guess. They may go Heaney just to kind of break things up. 2 righties, a lefty, then 2 righties again. So we'll see what happens. I'm not sure exactly what the Rangers are going to do, but a big series with Baltimore. That's all I can really say.
High stakes baseball coming up for our Texas Rangers. My thoughts are that if I think regardless, I think the Rangers, even if they come out maybe even 500-ish or barely 500 out of these 3 series, but we see like very competitive, like like you see that this team, it can be that team, like that they have it going. I think you'll see the Rangers hold pat in many ways, or make a few moves here and there. So
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Now, if they come out and they start laying eggs, and like you really see like just some kind of a fizzle kind of scenario, I think you're going to see a big sell off.
Yeah, and we're finally at this point, right? I saw something the other day that the Rangers have a 3.98 ERA for the team. Right now on the staff, there are only 2 guys that are over that 3.98 ERA that the team has. One is Daniel Robert, who's pitched to 8 batters, and the other is John Gray, who's sitting at a 4.01. So the Rangers pitching staff that they have on staff right now is about as good as they've had in recent history.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. I don't think the staff is going anywhere as far as what they've been contributing to this thing. I think it's only going to get better. And now you've got to hope that Latz and Leclerc and Jonathan Hernandez and the guys that are on this in this bullpen right now, Robertson and Yates included, they continue what they've been doing at the back end of the bullpen, and the Rangers can keep themselves in a position to where they just keep getting a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better throughout the month of July and August, and then really put the foot down on the pedal through September. But we'll see. We'll just see. We'll just have to, baseball's a talking sport, so we could talk about it all day, but until it happens on the field. I mean, I thought about that Rangers World Series a lot of times in my head, but until it happens on the field like it did last year, it's just me thinking in my head.
Love it. Love it. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back full steam ahead on Monday. So, don't forget to check out that exclusive content down on the farm with the boys.
Happy All-Star break to you guys.
Happy All-Star break. We teed you up with some good, some good first half minor league awards for the best players in the system. And again, upcoming this week, we will definitely talk about this draft. And best of luck to the Rangers over this really important weekend series against Baltimore. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check out the website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
That's all one word.
And thank you to all of our farm hands who subscribe to our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys. And also thank you for watching us here on YouTube on the Sports Fluent Network. For the 300-pound man, this is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the boys. Signing out.